Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this Thursday's COVID-19 press briefing. Today, Orange County Mayor Jerry L. Demings will discuss President Biden's signing of H.R. 1319, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. He will discuss the progress of vaccinations here in Orange County and all things vaccination related, including FEMA sites and more. And with this good news, of course, there is still lots of work to be done. The mayor will report on where we are regarding our COVID infection numbers. He will have some good news on a local employment effort, and do all this followed by Alvina Chu, epidemiologist from the Florida Department of Health here in Orange County. We'll begin with the mayor.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. As we come to the end of another week, we have much to share with you today. Many of you have asked for my response to the governor's executive order signed yesterday that waives local governments' fines on businesses as it relates to COVID-19. So here we go. I believe Governor DeSantis loves to create confusion. There is nothing unprecedented about local governments trying to provide for and protect its residents during a pandemic. We have been decisive and taken action when the governor was slow to act. We received many calls from our residents demanding businesses and individuals be held accountable for failing to take appropriate precautions to stop the spread of a deadly virus, which has infected 2 million people in our state, with 117,000 of them infected in Orange County alone, and 1,138 who died of the virus in our county. Some of our residents thought it was a joke when there was no accountability for compliance with federal, CDC guidelines, state guidelines, or local health and safety protocols. Perhaps it can even be debated, but the governor's inaction to enforce health and safety guidelines likely contributed to the spread of the virus in our state. I find it somewhat hypocritical that the governor provided clemency for fines or violations of local laws, but let stand fines imposed by the state of Florida. Frankly, that simply is not right. As a result, I have directed my county attorney to explore our legal options. But the good news is we have achieved 99% compliance to our local orders because of compliance, and that has translated to a very low positivity rate of transmission for the disease in our county. Ms. Xu is going to talk about that low rate of transmission. Our compliance teams have been doing inspections for the last 170 days and have conducted 9,394 inspections. Since the fines began in December, when our numbers were increasing quickly, we have issued 156 warnings and 28 citations. The strike teams will continue their mission of making unannounced visits in Orange County in furtherance of helping our businesses thrive by following recommended CDC and Department of Health guidelines. I want the residents of Orange County to know that I remain committed to working with the state, the federal government, and other community partners as we respond to and recover from issues associated with this crisis. In fact, we began conversations today with the leadership of the Florida Department of Emergency Management to collaborate with them on a pilot initiative next week to begin vaccinating people here in Orange County in their homes. This will be done in neighborhoods identified by the county and with cities based upon social vulnerability index data. Canvassers supplied by the state will be paired with firefighter paramedics in this effort as trusted public officials. Expect an announcement within the next few days. As I kind of summarize this portion, What I'm simply saying here is this, that I'm not willing to sacrifice the health and safety of our community for politics, as some have clearly done. As mayor, I will always put the people first here in Orange County. So as I transition, before we go to Ms. Shue, I'm going to talk now about some other relevant information. About 90 minutes ago, President Joe Biden has signed the $1.9 trillion economic stimulus bill into law. The president apparently received the bill last night from Congress, and he promised to sign it as quickly as possible. It is now law. Orange County is expected to receive nearly $272 million in relief funds to assist the residents of our county, exclusive of those in the city of Orlando. The city of Orlando will receive its own allocation. We are looking forward to using that money to once again help our hardest hit individuals and businesses in Orange County. The president will have more to say about the bill when he delivers his first prime time address tonight, which comes on the 1-year anniversary of the global pandemic. Yesterday, the Orange County Convention Center surpassed 125,000 COVID-19 vaccines administered and is in day 64 of vaccination mode. The site has had a lot of positive feedback from residents because, unlike other vaccination sites, it is a drive-through site, so your appointment is fast and convenient. You can stay within your automobile. Remember, if you have any internet issues or need help making an appointment, you can stop by one of our 4 participating Orange County Community Centers: Holden Heights, the Pine Hills Community Center, East Orange Center, and the Taft Community Center. Our staff will be there to assist you in making appointments if needed. The community centers operate between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Also, just as a reminder, seniors 65 and older who have transportation issues may be able to get a free ride from Links to the Convention Center or the FEMA vaccination site at Valencia College West Campus. So far, 120 seniors have taken advantage of the Links program, and 11 seniors have arranged a free ride to the FEMA site. So 120 seniors have taken it to the Convention Center, 11 have taken it to the free FEMA site. Okay. On Monday, March the 15th, Florida residents ages 60 years and older will now qualify for the vaccine. So my classmates who've been calling me fit in that category. There you go. They're just under 65, but now they're eligible. We have been told by the Department of Health that the CDR McGuire site will open its web registration beginning tomorrow, March the 12th at 9 a.m., so that all residents 60 and older can make an appointment for next week. You can go to our website at ocfl.net/vaccine for more information. In addition to the FEMA vaccination site open 7 days a week at Valencia, there are 2 new satellite sites. Starting today through Saturday, residents can go to the Barnett Park Gymnasium, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Starting on Sunday through Wednesday of next week, the East Orange County residents can go to the South Econ Park Gymnasium between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. No appointments are necessary. You can only drive up or walk up for those sites. In an effort to help get more teachers and staff vaccinated, we have partnered with the state to work with Orange County Public Schools to provide vaccinations this weekend for teachers and staff only. OCPS will be communicating information about this internally to their staff, and we do have their Chief Communications Officer, Mr. Scott Howard, with us today. We do thank them for their partnership in trying to help vaccinate our valued teachers and staff. And now for the numbers. Since the start of the pandemic, there have been a reported 117,308 COVID-19 cases in Orange County. Our 14-day positivity rate is getting lower, now 5.2%. However, the disease remains deadly. Again, 1,138 residents have died of the coronavirus in our community. Now let me talk a little bit about another opportunity, a partnership that we have with Career Source of Central Florida. They were awarded $7 million to help struggling Central Floridians get back on their feet. Career Source created what is called Help is Here, the Help is Here program that partnered with Valencia College's Accelerated Skills Training Program. Over 170 Orange County residents signed up for the opportunity, and as of now, 104 of them have been placed into jobs ranging from information technology to healthcare to hospitality or tourism-related jobs. Salaries range between $12 an hour to $20 an hour. Participants in the program received a $125 weekly stipend while taking part in the training. We look forward to funding more innovative programs like this one that helps get our residents back on their feet. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Alvina Chu, the epidemiologist from the Department of Health.
Thank you. Thank you. As the mayor had mentioned, we've had 117,308 positive cases reported to us to date. The recovery rate currently is at 97%, and the 14-day rolling percent positivity rate is 5.2%. And as the mayor had noted, that this virus, it still kills. It still has the ability to kill, and unfortunately, since the last time we spoke, we've had an additional 12 COVID-19 related deaths. The age ranges for these 12 deaths are from 59 to 99 years old with a median age of 74.5. 4 of the deaths were female and 8 were male. 8 had known underlying health conditions and 4 had no known underlying health conditions. 1 date of death is from January, 8 dates of death are from February, and 3 dates of death are from March. 2 of the 12, or 17%, had been reported with a long-term care facility residential address. Currently, we remain at 17 cases of the B117 variant identified in Orange County residents. Our vaccine appointment portal remains open for those who are eligible to schedule an appointment, and you can visit the CDR Health Pro website at www.patientportalfl.com. And as the mayor mentioned, we will open that portal tomorrow for next week's appointment schedule. Those age 60 years and older can create an account and schedule a vaccine appointment at the Orange County Convention Center. You'll only have access to appointments that start on Monday, March 15th. And on Wednesday, we surpassed the milestone of 125,000 vaccines administered at the Orange County Convention Center. And before I move on to other vaccine data, I wanted to encourage the community, when it's your turn to get vaccinated, please know that the best vaccine is the vaccine that's available to you right now, regardless of what brand it is. We've administered a total of 303,805 doses. 264,236 doses were administered to Orange County residents. We've had 194,530 doses administered to persons 65 years of age and older. And of those, 159,632 were to Orange County residents 65 years of age and older, which brings the percentage for persons receiving one or more doses, or Orange County residents receiving one or more doses of vaccine, to 12.09%. And the percentage of Orange County residents 65 years and older receiving one or more doses to 61.43%. So as we are encouraged and optimistic that the cases over the past week or so has plateaued. However, we just wanted to point out that we're not quite out of the woods yet. And so from a public health perspective, I think it's not quite time for us to relax our pandemic precautions, because we're making great headway in trying to get a handle on this pandemic. The addition of the availability of the third vaccine, the Janssen vaccine, to our arsenal or our toolbox to increase community immunity is a boon for us. And so we're coming to a point where I think, if you remember, maybe in previous seasons, we'd seen a certain age group, say the 15 to 24 years of age, those with the riskiest behavior relax the most on the pandemic precautions. And so we're nearing spring break locally. I know there are many other locations who are enjoying their spring break right now. I just wanted to make a plea that we continue to practice these pandemic precautions so that in our county we continue to protect our community. So please avoid large gatherings, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, wear a mask or facial covering when out in public with others. Watch your distance, so physical distance of 6 feet or more. Practice good hand hygiene, washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And then especially important is to stay at home if you are sick. I'll turn it back over to Mayor Demings. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, we're opening up for questions. Just as a reminder, if there's any Spanish-speaking media, if you want to translate in Spanish, we do have several people who can assist with that today. Ms. Ilia Torres, and we have Commissioner Maribel Gomez-Cordero, who has joined us. We also have our Public Safety Director, Danny Banks, here, Mr. Scott Howard from the Orange County Public Schools, and if there are any compliance team-related questions, we have Mr. Tim Boldick, and then other backup staff here as well. So, all right, we'll open it up for any questions.
From Mayor Demings, Pete Reinwald, digital reporter, Spectrum News 13. The governor's office tells us that the governor's executive order applies, or suggests it applies only to outstanding fines. Is that your understanding? And would you happen to have any idea how many outstanding fines the county has?
Yeah, you are correct, because essentially what the governor did, he went to the clemency board, which is the governor's cabinet. That's the governor, the chief financial officer, the state attorney general, and the commissioner of agriculture. And that body, which has authority to essentially commute someone's sentence, voted amongst themselves, a majority vote, to provide clemency, to reduce, eliminate the sanctions imposed by local governments on businesses, and or if there were any historically that have been imposed on individuals. He essentially wiped them out retrospectively. But he couldn't do it going prospectively, because essentially you can't forgive someone for violating Florida law before they even violate the law itself. So that's why it's only retrospective in terms of its application. So going forward, yes, theoretically a local jurisdiction could continue to issue a fine. I think there's 4 or 5 counties where there is some form of a fine that had existed. But those individuals who would receive subsequent fines, you know, the governor said in his executive order, all they have to do is point to his executive order that, you know, it's unenforceable, they will have clemency, and so we will have this conundrum that would exist in that situation, then that individual theoretically would have to apply for clemency or what have you. So it created some challenges for us, needless to say. But when I started out, I shared with you some of the numbers about the number of citations that we issued, and I'll go back over those numbers here. No, I just gave it to you, so no, it's here somewhere. So I think it's 20, is it 28 citations? Yeah, 28 citations at this point. Okay. All right, other questions?
Troy Campbell with Channel 6 for you, Mayor Demings. We've spoken before about how you were reaching out to the faith-based community to reach underserved neighborhoods. Yesterday, we spoke with Commissioner Regina Hill, who mentioned they're even knocking on doors in some communities. So can you give an update on the county's latest efforts to first identify the specific areas that are being underserved, and then what's being done to make sure there's an equitable distribution?
Again, we're looking at the data provided through the Social Vulnerability Index with specific zip codes, et cetera, where we know that there are disparities in certain communities, primarily they're minority communities, communities of color, that we will be focusing on with some of these community engagement efforts, and the state is interested in doing a pilot project here in Orange County, where we will further identify neighborhoods that we know to have been underserved. We will then work with the state, who will pay for canvassers to come in, who will be from the community, the local community, who will be fluent in Spanish, English, and Haitian Creole. And we will work with those canvassers, but they will be paired with firefighter paramedics in the various jurisdictions who will then, from a list that will be produced through these partnerships with the faith community and other community partners, once that list is provided, we will go into homes of individuals who are not able to leave those homes, or while we're there, if they would like to be vaccinated and they meet the eligibility criteria, they will be vaccinated right in their homes. Okay.
Question in Spanish. My name is Edgar Carrillo from Telemundo. Yo quisiera preguntar cómo va a afectar esta decisión del gobernador DeSantis el comportamiento de los equipos de trabajo, los strike teams. ¿Van a ellos a cambiar su actitud hacia los negocios? Es decir, en vez de emitir citaciones o multas que podrían ser eliminadas, ahora van a preferir entonces hacer solo advertencias. ¿Cómo va a afectar de ahora en adelante eso?
So the question is how this new executive order from the governor will affect the way that the strike teams operate, and as are we going to issue any citations, or instead of citations, just warning? Basically, what will be the effect on the strike teams?
Well, at the very least, we're going to continue having our compliance teams go out and inspect businesses, just like we did for the 5 months or so prior to the enactment of the fines. We began the fine program in December of just a few months ago. The goal is to send them into businesses, to still have them comply, to work with them to provide collateral material, to give them other helpful information about how they can be successful in operating a business and keeping their patrons and employees safe at the same time. I forgot. Forgot. Sorry, Ilya. You got all of that?
I think so.
Okay.
Como mínimo, vamos a continuar haciendo lo que hemos estado haciendo por los pasados 5 meses, desde que se emitió la orden que imponía las multas por no observar el uso de mascarillas. Eso comenzó en diciembre del 2020. Así que la meta sigue siendo enviar a los strike teams a los diferentes negocios para hacer cumplir a estos dueños de negocio con las normas aplicables y además de eso asistirles en mantener un ambiente de seguro y un ambiente también seguro para los clientes que así los patrocinan.
As far as finding businesses going forward, we have the county attorney's office reviewing our options.
Con relación a imponer multas en un futuro cercano, estamos evaluando con el abogado del condado sobre cuáles son nuestras opciones.
Hi, I'm Valerie from Fox 35. Just to clarify, Mayor, can you tell us, so for the businesses that have already been fined and paid their fines, will they get money back or not?
Well, more than likely they will. If, as we review our legal options, more than likely we will have to refund their fines that were paid.
This is Kelsey with West 2 News. My question is also for Mayor Demings. Just how are you feeling now that this executive order happened? Do you feel like all of your power over any sort of local restrictions has been stripped?
No, I shared with you a few minutes ago. The good news is that because we had those compliance teams and the fines, we got 99% compliance in this community. Secondarily, we have a very low positivity rate. So that's the outcome. Very few businesses were fined. 28 businesses were fined out of the thousands or tens of thousands of businesses that we have here in our area.
Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. This question is actually for Ms. Chu. Just out of curiosity, now that we are starting to turn the corner with the presence of the vaccines and now that cases are starting to decrease, does that decrease your workload any in terms of the research that you have to do and the amount of tracking that you have to do in terms of new cases?
I think one part of the biggest part of the workload is part of the contact tracing. And so I think we can attribute this decrease in cases also to our good contact tracers and investigations. And so calling people and recommending the quarantines, and also working with OCPS to protect teachers and children and employees at OCPS and removing persons who might be infected. The load, but I think we still are working at 100% as we were previously, but we're able to get to more persons.
Steve Hudak from the Orlando Sentinel. This is for Mayor Demings. I'm curious whether you think the executive order by the governor had anything to do with your decision to expand vaccination criteria for the Boys and Girls Clubs. If maybe it ticked them off.
I have no way of knowing whether any of that impacted the governors. The governor has a tough job to do. I will acknowledge that. Obviously, because the federal government controls the inventory of vaccine and has instituted some eligibility criteria that was different from what the governor was doing. Here we are at the local level doing what I believe we need to do in the best interest of our citizens. Perhaps the governor was feeling somewhere in this marginalized, and so he took action. In spite of all of that, I may not like some of the actions that the governor takes, but we still have to work with the state to make sure that we take care of the people here in Orange County.
Lauren Seabrook, Channel 9. Mayor, I think whenever you started fining businesses, it really, even just the threat of being fined really made a lot of businesses kind of shape up. Are you concerned that now, even though you've only given citations to 28 businesses, that now that that threat of fining the businesses is gone, people will loosen up a little bit? And what would you say to folks in our community who now say that this mask mandate is not enforceable?
Well, we're going to still do what we have to do. As I said, we're going to still send our strike teams out, and we will still maintain a list of those who are non-compliant. And if I were a patron of said businesses, I wouldn't. If I have a concern about my personal safety, I simply would not patronize those businesses. So all of that, even prior to the enactment of the fines, I believe we were somewhat successful in gaining compliance just by having these public officials go in and do inspections. However, that hardcore group who were committed to not following the direction, that was a small group of businesses out of the thousands that we visited, a small group of them. We gained additional compliance when we had the fines put in place. And again, this isn't about treating the businesses unjustly. This is about making certain that the people are safe during a public health crisis. As I indicated in my commentary earlier, people are still dying, people are still getting infected, and if there was something that we could have done to hold people accountable, that's what I wanted to do. And so we accomplished that. You know, we got 99% compliance out of it. So I don't think it was all for naught is what I'm saying to you. It served a purpose, and we accomplished generally our goal.
Mayor Demings, I have one question for you this afternoon, coming from Ryan Lynch with the Orlando Business Journal. How much of the new funds from federal government do you expect to go to businesses compared to CARES, and will county programs be similar to CARES?
Well, we wanted the passage of the legislation first to occur, and between my staff and I, we have started the conversation about how to program those dollars. We will then take a plan to the Board of County Commission for their confirmation, and we'll begin to administer those dollars within our community. We do have to wait on the U.S. Department of Treasury to issue the guidelines and so on.